I'm not from Spain. I come from Venezuela.
Mom, coming up over there. Okay. Let the black fly in.
I think they've seen all of us.
No, but you can say once you're in the stay, I'll come out with you push ups.
Exit over there to your right.
Yeah, let them in.
I don't know. All would be nice. Why don't we just go to the window?
Act like a lady.
Why don't we go?
Hello.
Hey.
Hey, how you doing?
Great, fine. I hope you guys too.
Yeah, very good.
Very good.
We have Motown special and nobody in the backstage area recognized my great Marvin Gaye.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful t-shirt.
Yeah.
Very cool.
For the Motown special.
So does that give us a bit of an indication of what you're going to be showing today, Nadine?
No, because the people requested, I think, some rarer Motown artists.
Oh, right.
Yes, that was a challenge.
Okay.
And I think two of the records you guys already know because I showed it many times. But there was one record I had actually in the collection, which was new. So that's good. If you have, before we start, you have a new channel.
Yes, I do have a new channel. It's called LTR, the live stream. It's actually the live streams that the show that I do with DJ Funk and the Big Yellow Rebel, and we've decided to do a separate channel and to do our show live from now on. So that's why we've created a new channel. It's called LTR, the live stream. So guys, check us out. We already did a first live a few weeks ago. I think it was 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so it went well. We were very happy about it. Not a lot of people, but hey, we had fun. So it was pretty nice.
It went really well. There's loads of really cool records shown, and that's the main thing, Eve. You know, that's the main thing. So it's brilliant, really good.
Yeah, DJ, my brother DJ Funky. He show how knowledgeable he is when it comes to funk music.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about, doesn't he?
But you have a great selection too, Eve.
Thank you, thank you, my friend. Yeah, it was very fun. It was cool. It was very cool. So yeah, so we're looking forward for our next live, which gonna be, I think, maybe in 2 weeks. Right. With our other friend Mikey is gonna be here this time. So yeah, pretty excited about it. Oh, thank you.
All right, John, something new on your end, except your travel to Copenhagen.
Something new? Oh, it's just the same old for me, Nadine, and nothing ever changes, you know. Just showing ropey old records.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we start, I got and this is not sponsored. I got a delivery from a label which is called Soul for Real. I order there regularly and from Spain, and they release rare tracks on 45s or do compilation albums like this.
Oh,
And yeah, this is unbelievable great label. I order there for years now. And the thing was, I got my latest order. They did some Percy Sledge track. I make myself big. Come on, how do I do this? So, and Percy Sledge released on 45 is €15. Some rare Aretha Franklin tracks, and I also put this on my Discogs. This is Annette Snell. And she was on the brink of becoming a huge solo star in 1977. She recorded in total 4 tracks. On the plane back from Muscle Shoals to Atlanta, she died in a plane crash.
Oh.
She never heard that. And he made it possible. 2 of these tracks were released as a single. And he made it possible to release the other 2 tracks on this single, which were never released. And I was putting this in Discogs, and it's now a €70 single.
Blimey.
So all I can say is go on the website, Soul for Real, and go and now it's sold out. It was relatively soon sold out, but check that out before you buy a single for 70 or more on Discogs. So I just wanted to point that out. Go on the website and buy it directly. I was shocked. And there were some other singles which were insanely expensive. So Soul for Real.
Very good. I don't know that label. I'll have to check it out.
Absolutely. And like I said, I'm sorting. They have the Dionne Warwick did 2 tracks in the 70s, many tracks in the 70s, which weren't released, and I found someone else and Meant to Be. And they were produced, I think one of them was from Ben McCoy. So it's really kind of disco stuff. And this is also now expensive. And you can buy this for €15. So go and check the website out, Mary Wells, the Masqueraders. And they have
what's the website again? What's the name of the?
Yeah, do you see how prepared I am? Oh my God, I drank too much gin tonic again. It's horrible. But I'm so nervous. I'm always nervous. I put the link in the section. I highlighted it.
That's cool.
So
the artwork looks fantastic on all of those. You can make yourself big again, Nadine. You can really show that. It all looks fantastic. Yeah, really cool. Really well done.
So these are fantastic. The Aretha, I love the Aretha. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's
thick cardboard, and also the Percy Sledge. Some later recordings from the late 60s. Mary Wells and Dionne Warwick, and of course my absolute favorite is the Annette Snell. So, and you get these for $15. Oh, sorry. Some of them are already sold out, but yeah, it's insane.
Very cool. Very nice.
It was brilliant, and he's not really making a lot of money out of it. It's more a labor of love. But before you go on Discogs and pay way too much, go on the website.
Check out the site. That's cool.
Yeah. All right. So a question, Miss Lady Soul, did you go get the 2x gold pressing of the Anthony Hamilton album?
No, not yet.
She is now.
Please. Which one is that? The 2 gold pressing? Which album?
Yes, Stanley. Which album?
Is it his recent one? Because no, I haven't heard about it.
So Stan, you need to get a little more specific today.
That's pretty interesting.
Hey, Chance. Hi. All right. Okay, now we are getting a little into it. In Germany, it's so hot. I'm melting away. The heat and the alcohol is not a good combination.
Oh, it is, Nadine.
It is.
Sunshine. It doesn't get any better than that.
Yeah, and it's cheap to get drunk.
Yeah, that's right. Doesn't take long.
Yeah. All right. So topic today was Motown special, and I think we do it as usual. Everybody's shown a record, and I try to play the track. Now Eve knows how difficult this can be, especially what track did you say? Spell it again. What? I can't find it. It's there. No, spell it again. All right. So yes, Ivan, the heat is on. It sure is. So who will be the first to show record? Who wants?
Why don't you go ahead, Nadine?
Yeah.
You start. Yeah.
All right. So I tried to find rarer artists, and I think I said it in the beginning that you might have seen this records. So I'm going with the great Brenda Holloway.
Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. I love Brenda Holloway, and she's one of those artists who had really problems with Motown. She was very talented, but at that time, this is from 1964, when they started to release the materials, they had the Supremes, they had the Temptations, they had the Marvelettes, they had so many that she got a little under the radar, and they released a couple of more singles, but that really wasn't a big success. And in 1967, she released her signature song, which she also co-wrote, and this was "You've Made Me So Very Happy," which was, I think, also covered by Blood, Sweat, and Tears very successfully. And yeah, so she recorded a couple of songs, and Motown didn't want to release it. And by the late 60s, this album came out, The Artistry of Brenda Holloway, which when you read Wikipedia says it's the lost second album. It's not. It's a compilation of singles of songs you also find on the debut album, but you find also some newer stuff. And Brenda Holloway is an absolutely underrated singer. I saw her live a couple of years ago in London. She still has a great voice, and yes, the cover art is strange.
Oh my God, you're signed, Nadine.
Yes,
signed.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anything, Nadine.
No, of course not, because you have David Ruffin signed "Walk Away from Love" copies, so you know. So yeah, I've always thought that the cover art was extremely strange.
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah.
The other sleeve is fantastic, though. I mean, that is just 1964, isn't it? That sleeve design there, it is just perfect for that era. It's brilliant. It's a great example, yeah.
Yeah. So the cover is very beaten up, but the record, I really thought it is a reissue because the spine looks like looks like it had never been played. This was a really great condition, and I got this for €5 as an original press. So that was the time when vinyl was still affordable.
Yeah.
So Nadine, did you find that? Where did you find that? Was it in a store, or a fair, or did you buy it online?
This one I bought in a record store here in Germany, and this one I bought in the UK when I was on a fair.
Okay, that's interesting because I know both of those records that you're holding up there, but I've never seen a physical copy. Would have been. I mean, I try not to buy stuff online. So most of the stuff that I buy is from fairs or from shops or whatever, you know. And I don't think I've ever seen either of those records in the wild, if that, you know, that's the phrase that people use, isn't it? You know, out and about. So I mean, it's great seeing those, especially signed as well. I mean, I know I joke about it, but it's incredible that you've got both of those signed. That's lovely, really lovely stuff.
When she appeared, you know, John, I get these signatures because I'm traveling a lot to the UK, where you actually live.
Fair enough. Point taken.
Yeah.
The thing is, Nadine, is that even when I see these artists, I don't queue and try and track them down to get signatures and stuff. I just go and see the gigs and then go home, you know, which is so more for me, really. Hey. Yeah.
So, and when she saw this one, she was in shock because she said, "I've never seen this," and I got this for £20.
Brilliant.
Wow. And this is a UK stereo pressing. So
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah. And she did a meet and greet after the show. So you really didn't do much work, John. You just, like me, had to stand in the line.
Yeah, you've got to make it as easy as possible for me, Nadine. You should know that by now.
So yeah, Brenda Holloway. I like her a lot. So, what song do we play from her?
Well, I always think of her big song as being "Every Little Bit Hurts," which is
yes, and you've made me so very happy.
Yeah.
But every little bit hurts is so good. We do this. Have you ever heard about her, Eve?
Not really. Not really. I heard the name, but not really.
You're gonna love her. I'm sure you're gonna love her. So let's see how I do this. Let's see how I do this. Sharing.
Every little bit hurts. Every little bit hurts. Every night I cry, every night I sigh, every night I wonder why you treat me cold, yet you won't let me go. Every little hurt counts. Every little hurt counts. You say you're coming home, yet you never phone. Leave me all alone. My love is strong for you. I do wrong for you. I can't take this loneliness you've given me. I can't go on giving my life away. Oh, come back to me, darling, you'll see. I can give you all the things that you wanted before.
All right.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I would have loved to play more, but you know.
That's wonderful. That's sounding fantastic.
Yes.
I'm just in a comment there from John Moreno says sometimes buying records online is necessary. Yeah, absolutely, John.
Very true.
Because not everybody's lucky enough to have a record shop, within a certain distance that they can get to easily. Absolutely. I personally, though, I am quite lucky. I live in a major city, so there are a few shops that I can get to, and I just figure that because there is quite a bit of choice that I can get to. And the UK is not that big anyway. And if you want to go to a different city, you can travel. I just think something like that. I could look for that online. But the way that I feel is that ultimately I will probably come across a copy at some point, and that'll be even more thrilling when I eventually find it in 30 years' time. So it's one of those.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this to DJ Funk yesterday. We were talking about buying online, and because him is so lucky in his neck of the woods because he's from Cincinnati, and he always, he's always able to find some super cool albums. And me in Montreal, I found nothing. When it comes to soul R&B music, I found nothing.
Yeah,
I found nothing. And I was talking to him about it, saying that what, sometimes buying online is necessary, especially because we were talking about Discogs. And it's so I know that I watched your video yesterday, and talking about the higher prices when it comes to Discogs and the fees and whatnot. But sometimes it is necessary to go on Discogs. Me, I've bought a lot of albums on Discogs because I wasn't able to find them at my local record stores. It's sad.
Absolutely. I love the idea of Discogs. I love to have the database. I love that. What I don't love is the thing that some sellers say that a totally scratched up record where the cover is totally beaten up is VG++.
So
that's my biggest issue with Discogs is that some sellers have different views. Some of the US, some sellers from UK as well.
That's
have a
why
different-
I always ask for pictures. I
Mhm.
often ask for pictures, show me pictures or whatever. And yeah, you have to be careful when it comes to sellers. And yeah, I guess. And now I noticed, I don't know, a few months ago that something changed when it comes to Discogs and the sellers, that they require a minimum when you're buying. So
Really?
for instance, you're interested in an album, right? So you buy it. The album is, I don't know, 20 euros for instance. And when you click on purchase, it says, oh, this particular seller's requires a minimum of 30 or 40 euros.
Oh, that's new.
For an order. Yeah.
Yeah, I have seen that, but for lower amounts. Now, there's a shop not far from me here where I think he asked for the minimum order to be £12, which and I can see why he does it. You know, if you're ordering a £5 out, like a very cheap record, you know, he's got to go and find that out of thousands of records, and then he's got to package it. Well, you know, I don't know, but don't sell it on Discogs, I suppose, is the answer. You know,
it wasn't the case before on Discogs. I mean, I was pretty surprised when I saw that. Yeah, but it's pretty common now.
Yeah, I do get it. I always ask for pictures. I have now a whole mail of, is it warped? Is it cut out? Is it drill hole? Is blah, 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 blah. Because some sellers say where you have a huge cutout, it says it's mint. But it has a cutout. No, it's mint.
Yeah.
So Nadine, so what's your thoughts on cutouts and drill holes and stuff like that?
I learned to live with it.
Me, I don't mind. I don't mind at all.
Come on, Nadine. If it's got a drill hole, it's mint. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't. I don't mind.
So this was sold to me as mint. It has a cutout, and I would love if I would love. Yeah, okay, we forget that it's signed, but I would love to have known that there's a cutout. There's damage to the cover.
Yeah.
So that's not mint.
See, that's I probably only ever bought from Discogs probably 4 or 5 times, no more than that. Over the years, I have bought from eBay, and the reason being is because you've got photographs with eBay.
Exactly.
You always look on anything you buy, there are photographs, and if you want to see more photographs, you can message the seller and say, "Can you give me some more snaps, whatever." But Discogs, I find a really strange thing, particularly with records. You cannot see what you're buying.
Yeah.
I mean, and even the description, okay, it might say, you know, VG Plus or whatever it is, but the description is a one-line description, no more than that.
Yeah, depending on the seller.
You know, never. So that I've never. It's never appealed to me at all. But eBay, I know it's not perfect, and I know you're perhaps buying from people who aren't professional sellers of records, but at least you can get more information from that particular service. You know.
That's why I always send them a private message and asking all of these questions, because some sellers are pretty detailed when it comes to the description, but some are, like you said, John, one line. And it's.
I totally get if you're having like John said, a 5-pound record or even a 10-pound record. Some sellers say, listen, it's in a warehouse, I have to drive there. I totally get that, but you know, you're buying more expensive record. Like for me, a $20 or pound record is not cheap. So and then you get it and it's totally scratched up, and so it's horrible. It's so I love the idea of Discogs. It's a great idea, and I heard now that 50 or 60 people now working at Discogs. I mean, look at their website or look at the app. I'm constantly, you know, freaking out because it's crashing, or this is not working, or that is not working. So what are they doing? And they ask their users. I had an interview with them last year, and I asked, okay, how many time do you have so that we discuss the things I think which are not useful or should be improved? So, but we could. Who's next?
Go on, Eve. You're up next.
All right.
I'll make you big.
Okay. Well, I was a bit nervous when Nadine said, "All right, the next team, the show, the next team of the show would be Motown," because I don't have a lot of Motown in my collection. So, but I was pretty happy because it allowed me to look in depth into my collection, and I was like, oh my God, I have this. Oh my God, I have this. I was really happy about it. All right. So the first record or the first artist I'm going to showcase is, I would say its style is fusion funk. He was active in the 70s and in the 80s mostly. Like funk mixed with some electronic disco as well. He had a pretty unique style. He wore a helmet. He never showed his face. Always wore a helmet. So Daft Punk they didn't invent anything, because this guy was, I believe, was the first to have this particular style, wearing a helmet and whatnot. And I'm talking about the artist Mandre.
Oh, I love Mandre. That punk look.
Yeah, so he released 4 albums on Motown. I only have 2 of them. I have the second and the third one. And yeah, I love his stuff. I really love his stuff. Like I said, great mix of funk with some electronic, disco vibe as well. This is his album from 1979, his second one, called 2. And then I have as well, it's on Motown, yeah. And I have as well his third one called M3000.
Wow, I love the cover.
I really enjoy this one. This one is pretty good. Yeah. So hey, I mean, apparently he started his career. He had a funk band called Maxine with his wife. Then later on in the 70s, he got signed by Motown and started a solo career as Mandre, but his real name is Michael Andre Lewis. And he released 4 albums with Motown. Then he kind of disappeared, and he passed away like, I don't know, 10 or 12 years ago. But yeah, great stuff. Really, and I rarely hear about his name. Rarely hear about his name. And yeah, this one pretty good. And especially the track Freaking's Fine. Yeah. Freaking's Fine. Pretty decent.
Brilliant.
All right.
Yeah, Freaking's Fine.
Do you want us to play the track?
Yeah, Freaking's Fine.
All right. And while I do this, I put the link to Eve's channel, to Eve's new channel, in the comments, so you can check that out. All right. So, and Freaking's Fine. All right.
Yeah. Pretty good stuff. I mean, yeah. I honestly, I recently became familiar with his music, and yeah, I mean, pretty nice stuff. And he has worked with a lot of artists. He was a member of the Frank Zappa band which I didn't know. He has worked with other big names. So yeah, he has that persona from, outer space artist, always wore a helmet, like I said. And yeah, he had that particular style. pretty
That's very
good
cool.
style. Yeah.
It's interesting because, I don't know, sometimes you might refer to a particular sound, you say a Motown sound.
Mm.
I mean, that is very different to Brenda Holloway,
exactly.
isn't it? It just goes to show that, we almost think of Motown as being that mid-60s, Temptations and Supremes and Four Tops. But there's so much music after that. I mean, I don't know those Mandra albums very well, but I do know the records that he made before as Maxine, which are really cool. They're great early 70s funk records. But yeah, I mean that sound is a million miles apart from that classic Motown sound. So yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
And I think Daft Punk took an inspiration from Mandre because of their helmets and all of this.
Of course.
All right, and I think I saw a comment, John Bandy. I have a newsseller that sends excellent picks between 10 to 15 ensembles of all the records playing. He will play whichever area of the quietest parts, or even send a complete file of the album. It is work to find one. Wow, John, how expensive is the record you are buying, or the records you are buying? Because I think it's a lot of work to do this for a 5 to 10 pound record. So,
but if it's an expensive record, if you are investing in a record, it's a rare record, it costs a few quid, whatever. A seller like that is perfect. As much information as you can. Yeah.
So when I see in a record I want in which is expensive and really expensive, and this is for me a record from 100. So I not buying it before I didn't see. So I want pictures, but I want pictures also taken from the sides, because you can see the surface scratches. And what's very important for me always is it warped.
Yeah.
So I had some bad experience with that in the past. So John, you were in Copenhagen, and
I'll show something from Copenhagen in a moment, but I'm going to start off, Nadine, with a cheap Motown record, right? So this isn't expensive, and I think part of the reason why I'm showing this is because quite often we talk about record collecting, and certainly with soul and funk music, prices have really got out of hand. You can spend a ridiculous amount of money trying to find soul and funk records, but there are so many brilliant, particularly records on the Motown label, because they sold so many and they pressed so many because it's such a big label. So these records are cheap, right? So the record I'm going to show is the first Smokey Robinson album. This is his first solo album from 1970 something, whatever, 1972 or something like that, I think it is. Right. So obviously he split up with the Miracles, and this is the first album that he put out. And it is a brilliant record. Now, to be perfectly honest, I've never been the biggest Smokey Robinson fan. Obviously, he did make some great records in the 60s, but his voice hasn't always been to my taste. I think there were better vocalists on Motown, but there's no denying he had a good voice. He had, he was a brilliant producer, a great songwriter. And I say this album, it's very different. Again, I suppose what we're talking about there with the record that Eve showed, it's a very different sound to that classic Motown sound that you expect from Smokey Robinson and the Miracles when you think of those mid-60s hits. Now, how I found out about this record, I mean, this record probably costs probably less than £5. So I bought this several times over the years, and I've sent it out to friends because, we all like to force our musical taste on other people, don't we? But yeah, it's I heard about this because about 15 years ago, Elvis Costello had a TV program. I think it was called Spectacle, and every week he would have a different musician or artist on with him, and he would talk about their career. And Elvis Costello and his band would then perform with the artist some of their classic tracks. Now, Smokey Robinson was on. It'd be very easy for Elvis Costello to say, let's do Tears of a Clown or Tracks of My Tears, whatever, all the big hits. But he referenced this album, and he basically explained that he heard this album and it totally blew him away. And the track that they played was a song called Silent Partner in a Three-Way Love Affair. If you can see the track list on the back there.
Okay.
And they played it, and it was just incredible. Very different to what you'd expect from Smokey. Really suits his voice. Very laid back, a very laid back groove. But on here as well, you've got a version of Never Can Say Goodbye, which of course was originally a hit for the Jackson 5, wasn't it? And then it was done by Isaac Hayes and Gloria Gaynor. But a lovely version by Smokey on here. So I would, if you don't have this record and you see it about, you'll pay less than $5 for it. I really recommend this record. Good stuff.
I love the cover art.
Yeah, and a few of those records from the 70s are definitely worth picking up. The one that followed this was called Pure Smokey. Great record. And there's another mid-70s record called A Quiet Storm. All three of those are cheap. And, if you're a soul fan, I think you'll enjoy them.
So do you want us to play a silent partner in a three-way love affair? Yeah,
try that. Yeah, so perhaps skip it in for a few seconds, whatever, 30 seconds in, and then just play a bit of that.
All right.
Nothing I can say against the man you love. Nothing I can say, 'cause I don't blame you for feeling like you do. Your man happens to be my best friend. No. The only hang up is I love you too. So I'm just a silent partner in a three-way love affair. Silent partner in a three-way love affair. Vividly, I can remember when he and I were boys, 'cause that was when he gave me my very first clue. While rapping about the woman who would share our future lives, we both painted a picture that is you. So I'm just a silent partner in a three-way love affair.
All right. That was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a little bit laid back and perhaps not what you'd expect from Smokey. But yeah, I think it really suits his voice. But yeah, I think the whole album is, I say for the money that you'll pay, I think you can't go wrong with that.
Awesome. All right. It's my part, my turn, right? Okay. So I choose the wonderful Tammy Terrell.
Yeah.
I make myself big again. So Tammy Terrell is mostly known for her duets with Marvin Gaye. And so she had a fantastic voice, but she was also in very abusive relationships with James Brown, who beat her, and also with David Ruffin from The Temptations, who didn't treat her so well, and she got many hits on the head. But and many people, it's through the gossip stuff, they say, oh, that caused her a tumor. She had a brain tumor, and that caused that, which I think, I'm not a medical, but I do think that's not correct. From what I've read is that she had from her earliest age headache, that the tumor was there anyway. Getting hits on the head didn't improve the situation. But she had a tremendously strong and good voice. And I wished she would have lived throughout the 70s, because I would have loved to see how she developed her vocal styles. And it's such a tragic, and she had so many brain surgeries during her last years in life, and was such a tragedy. So this is the Tammy Terrell, Irresistible.
Yeah.
That's a brilliant record. It's a brilliant album. It is.
Yeah. Absolutely. I got the German version.
It has been reissued recently, right? This one?
Yes, it was on Record Store a day, I think, also on yellow vinyl.
Yeah.
I wanted to get that one, but it was sold out immediately.
I think
that's Record Store. That's another thing. So you stand in line for a couple of hours, and you're like, I would like to have the Tammy Terrell. And I said, I don't get it. And I said, oh, thank you. I'm waiting here for 4 hours for nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but here, that's the bag, the great Tammy Terrell. And there are many compilation albums and also some reissues of her, and I can't recommend her enough, especially also with the work she did with Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
But again, that record was pretty well pressed. So if anybody wants to get a copy of that, it's available. It's not an unobtainable record, is it? It's something you can get hold of. And I know it's been reissued, but you can get an original copy of that for a, not an unreasonable price. So
this is a German first press, John, and I paid 50 euros for it, and that's cheap.
Right? Is it really? Blimey.
Yeah, it's not so common. At least here in Germany. In Germany, it's difficult anyway, but that's not so common in Germany. But I think in other countries like the US or the UK, I'm sure you find these more often. The UK and the US had always better taste in music.
Yeah, I have a UK pressing from, and I probably bought it 15 years ago, I suppose. But it's a great record. But saying that though, I mean, as much as I love her voice, Tammy Terrell singing with Marvin Gaye, is there any better duets than Tammy and Marvin? It's what a duo, absolutely perfect. Just a perfect. That's the thing, just because two people have a good voice, it doesn't always marry well. I mean, I know that obviously Motown paired Diana Ross and Marvin Gaye, and they just didn't like each other. And although I don't mind that album, Diana Marvin, it's got some nice enough moments. The chemistry isn't there like it is with Tammy and Marvin.
Yeah, so Mellow Manor, he's totally right. There is, I think, Ain't No Mountain High Enough, where they did a music video together, or Your Precious Love. I think it was Your Precious Love. I'm not so sure. They really, really liked each other, and I think Marvin was the only one who was from Motown even invited in the funeral or at the funeral from Tammy, because he really, really cared about her, and he was devastated when she died. Absolutely devastated.
I haven't seen that clip, Lawrence. I have to check that out.
So, yeah, you can. I think you can. Let's have a listen. Let's look. The internet is great. Tammy Terrell, Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Come on, let's have a look at that. Come on.
I mean, that's straight away. Look at that.
Listen, baby, ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low, ain't no river wide enough, baby. If you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far. Don't worry, baby, just call my name, I'll be there in a hurry. You don't have to worry, 'cause baby, there ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you, baby. Remember the day I set you free? I told you you could always count on me, darling. From that day on, I made a vow I'll be there when you want me, some way, somehow. Oh, baby, there ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no valley low enough. Ain't no river wide.
Unfortunately, I have to stop. But yeah, they were fantastic.
Great chemistry indeed, yeah.
Yeah, and I like the way she looks. And also at the beginning, like, who do you think you're talking to? What do you want?
Has there ever been a better vocalist than Marvin Gaye? I mean, he just makes it sound effortless, doesn't he? He's just perfect every time. Brilliant.
I can't praise him enough. He's like, but the two of them, that was a match made in heaven. He did with Kim Weston, Deuce. He did it with Mary Wells.
Yeah.
And with Diana Ross, of course. But I think what he did, that was just the perfect mix. So from that solo album, I play "I Can't Believe You Love Me," which was redone for in the 60s to a duet version, but actually it was first a solo version. So let's hear Tammy Terrell.
No, I can't believe you love me. No, I can't believe you love me. No, I can't not like before. Whenever we're together, not one word do you say. When I speak your name in the sweetest tone, it's just as though I'm all alone. I can't believe you love me. No, I can't believe you love me. No, I can't believe that you love me. I can't believe that you love me anymore. Not like before. Not like before. I can't believe that you love me. I can't believe that you love me.
All right.
Fantastic.
Yeah, Ashford and Simpson once again, like Funk says, was written by Ashford and Simpson. I mean, hey.
Yeah, I mean, for me, Ashford and Simpson are my favorite. Yeah, my favorite Motown songwriting partnership.
Yeah,
absolutely. They were just incredible. Late 60s, early 70s. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, and they got there because Spectrum Records dislined them, because actually they wrote like Ain't No Mountain High Enough for Chuck Jackson and another artist I did a special about and I forgot. And they had this catalog of the songs, and I went to the CEO of Spectra and said, hey, we have some great songs and would think the duo would be great and we want to push that. And they said no. And Barry Gordy hired them right away. But do you know, guys, there's some controversy of the last album with Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell?
Really?
Marvin Gaye stated later on in an interview that it wasn't Tammy Terrell who was singing in the studio because she was too sick. Okay. And it was actually Barry Simpson singing the parts.
Yes, yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
So.
But Valerie Simpson's solo albums from the early 70s are fantastic as well. Those first 2 or 3 solo records are brilliant.
Yeah, absolutely. So these two, Ashford and Simpson, they brought so much joy to everybody's life. It's unbelievable. You can't praise these two. They were sent from heaven to, they created so beautiful music, and for me, it's unbelievable.
I never saw Ashford and Simpson play live, but I went to a record fair a few years ago. I don't know how long ago now, I was going through the soul boxes, and the guy. I always try and make conversation with the people that are selling the records. I always think if you have a conversation, build a bit of rapport, you might get a bit of a discount. That's my aim anyway. That's my take on it. But so I'm going through the boxes, and the guy's not really very responsive at all. And I pull out a couple of Ashford and Simpson records. And all of a sudden, his mood changes, and he starts telling me about how, I don't know, probably about 5 or 10 years before Nick Ashford died, they came over to Birmingham, and he went to see it. I mean, he was basically telling me this story, just a bloke on a Sunday morning, 10 o'clock Sunday morning, and he had tears in his eyes telling me about seeing Ashford and Simpson. And he basically said he expected them to turn up with like a backing track and just knock out a few of the hits. They turned up with a full-on soul band, and he said it was just full of, middle-aged men, all of them crying their eyes out, listening to these brilliant soul records, And so he did give me a discount in the end, so it was worth it. But yeah, it's good. Yeah, but there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, brilliant,
Awesome
fantastic artists.
Awesome story. Yeah, these also in the 80s, they easily managed to switch to the 80s with Solid. That was a huge hit.
Yeah.
And Ashford, he looked like a Greek god. I mean, when he was, he was trained, he looked like, oh my God.
He did.
Yeah. So these two, we should do an Ashford and Simpson special, really. So, and I have to look, thanks John and also DJ Funk, I need to look into her solo work. I absolutely need to look at that.
And again, those records are pretty cheap because they're on Motown. And they sold a fair few copies. You can get them relatively cheap.
Yeah,
they're good records.
Yeah, they've released some pretty good stuff as a duo. Yeah,
I know you've talked about on your stream with DJ Funk of Ashford and Simpson. But the solo records and the the direct records as well. But they're brilliant, and I say because they sold so many copies, they're cheap, so they're easily available.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, who's next? I lost a little track. I'm sorry.
I am next.
All right, hold on. I'm making it.
About a band that was pretty big in the 80s. Family of musicians. I mean, they have released some beautiful songs. Yeah, the DeBarge.
Mm.
The DeBarge. I mean, hey, Al DeBarge, James, Bunny, the woman, the sister. I mean, yeah, they were huge in the 80s. I've released, I believe, 6 records on Motown, or 6 records and 4 on Motown, if I'm not mistaken. Mostly in the 80s. Then they went solo, and then they had a lot of them at drug problems and whatnot. And it's a shame because they were very, very talented. And this is their album All This Love, released in 1982, which is a very, very good album. I mean, you have the title track, which was great. And the song I Like It, I'll Never Fall in Love Again. I mean, just a great band, DeBarge, that we tend to forget. We still tend to forget, even though they released some great stuff in the 80s. I believe they are not super mentioned still. But yeah, DeBarge.
So Eve, did they have proper hits in Canada and in the US?
Yes, they were pretty big in the 80s. Pretty big. I mean, the track I Like It was huge. I Like It, All This Love, which was huge. And
Rhythm of the Night was big.
Yes,
They
exactly.
had one big hit over here, which was about 85, The Rhythm of the Night.
Rhythm of the Night, it was enormous.
Yeah, but apart from that, I mean, I don't know any of their stuff apart from that tune, really.
Yeah. Oh, this one is pretty nice.
Okay.
Pretty nice. And Al DeBarge was a great producer as well. Yeah, they were very talented, but they had, getting into the 80s, they had a huge a problem when it comes to drugs and whatnot. Many of them had drug problems. It's unfortunate, but hey. And they tried to went solo after the band, but this one is pretty nice. Yeah,
fantastic.
It's a shame when they have all kind of drug problems and it's not.
Exactly. And James was married to Janet Jackson in the early 80s.
Yes.
And, they were married for, I think, 7 or 8 months or even a year because he had drug problems. And they were pretty young. Yep.
Wow.
There we go.
So what track do you want me to play?
We could play I Like It.
All right. So I Like It.
They've been sampled a lot in the 90s as well. A lot.
Now I need to get that album. Hold on.
Pretty easy to find.
Sorry, what did you say?
They are pretty easy to find. Very, very cheap.
All right.
The Barge albums.
I've been thinking about you for quite a while. You're on my mind every day and every night. My every thought is you. The things you do seem so satisfying to me. I must confess it, girl. When I like it, you send chills up my spine every time I take one look at you. When I like it, girl, you're blowing my mind with the things you say to me. I like the way you comb your hair, and I like those stylish clothes you wear. It's just the little things you do that show how much you really care. Like when I'm all alone with you, you know exactly.
All right. Before YouTube is suspending us, that was a great choice, Eve.
Yeah, that was a big hit. Yeah.
I've not heard that before.
You never heard that before?
No, never heard that before.
They were pretty big in the US and in Canada. They were pretty big. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Are they still alive or?
I guess so. Yes. Yeah, I think so. I haven't heard about them in a while, but yeah, like I said, they had a lot of them had drug problems, but I think they are still alive. Maybe some of them passed away. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, actually. I've just seen a comment there from DJ Funk saying that there's a spin-off group called Switch. Now, I have records by Switch, but I never realised that spin-off group from DeBarge. So there you go. I've learned something new there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
All right. John, I think it's your turn. Is it your turn?
Yeah, right. Okay. So as I was saying to Nadine before the show that I've just been to Copenhagen with my family for a few days, a few weeks ago. And while I was there, obviously, I wanted to check out some record shops. Mm-hmm. And one of the shops I knew that I wanted to go to because they post pictures of their new inbox on Facebook and Instagram and stuff. And I saw a record that I really wanted, and it's been on my want list for years, and I've never found a copy just out and about. So when we got there, me and my son, my little boy, we made our way across the city to get to this shop. And when we got there, the guy said, "I'm closing in 5 minutes." Oh. So 5 minutes, and I looked around the shop, and it was just full of brilliant records. You know, when you look at the wall of a shop, and I'm thinking, "Oh, 5 minutes, this is no good." So I said, "Well, I know I'm coming. I'm after one record." And I said, "Where would it be?" He said, "It might be in that box over there." And I found it. And then the next record behind it was another record that I've been after for years, and I've never seen a physical copy of. And that was this.
Oh my God.
This is Odyssey on the Mo West label from 1970, is it 72? So this record, it's a funny one really. So first of all, it's on Mo West, which was the LA, the California spin-off of offshoot of the Motown label. And I'm looking at the roster, looking at the artists they had on the label. It wasn't necessarily soul music. You did have soul music, you did have soul musicians on there, but you had country rock on there as well. And this is interesting because this record, yes, it's got soul elements to it, but there's definite country feel on there as well. There's it's got a rock feel to it in places. So a couple of the songs, obviously, I think Lawrence will know a couple of the songs on here. Baton Ships and Our Lives Are Shaped by What We Love are the two big tunes on here for soul collectors. But yeah, this is a record that appeals to country rock fans as well. So, some of the songs have got fiddles on it, for example, which you don't necessarily associate with soul artists, So it is a bit of a mixed bag, but it's a fascinating record. They only made this one album. I believe that a couple of the members went off to form the band or work with Chicago. I don't know much about Chicago, that band, but that's who they work with for a period of time. So that perhaps gives you a flavour. It's a multiracial band, so black and white are on here as well. But those two songs, I mean, I suppose one thing to mention here is that I first heard the song Our Lives Are Shaped by What We Love on a compilation album done by DJ Scruff, by Mr. Scruff, going back, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And for me, compilation albums have been so important over the years because that's the way I found out about music, you buy a CD, a double CD, it might have 40 songs in it, you might know a handful of them. And a well put together, a well curated compilation album can send you off in all sorts of directions. And, that's what happened with this one track. I listened to that CD, had 40 songs on it, and this is the one song that jumped out at me. I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of this band. Obviously, I knew the later band, obviously, but not this band. And and since listening to that compilation CD, I've been looking for this album. The reissue is now quite expensive. There's a compilation of music that was put out on the Mo Wax label. Mo West label, something else on the Mo West label, and obviously these songs feature on it. But fantastic! If you like soul music, check it out. Yeah, that's right.
I'm so jealous.
So do you know that album, Nadine?
I love this album because it's different, but there's one country song on it which I absolutely hate. But the rest of it is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Till the country song. I don't know what song it was, but it was a country song on it. And I was like, oh my God, skip it. But the rest of it is just fantastic. It's difficult to describe what genres. It's a mixture of many things, but it's unbelievable. And finding this record, John, congratulations to that. Absolutely. Finding this record and look in the shape it is in, you won't see that any day.
So basically, as I say, I went to this shop and he said, I've got 5 minutes. He was going to DJ somewhere, the guy who worked in the shop. So he goes, I've got to go in 5 minutes. So I'm there with my little boy, and I said, look, there's one record that I'm after, and I'll show that in my next video, that record. And he pointed me to the box where he thought it would be. And I found that record. I was like, at least it's there. And the next record in the box was that. So, literally next to each other, 2 records that I've been after for years and years and years. So there you go. So the song, Nadine, that I'd like to hear is Our Lives Are Shaped by What We Love. Another laid back, soulful, just beautiful piece of music.
Sorry, what was the song called?
It's called Our Lives Are Shaped by What We Love.
All right.
Yeah. Do you want me to put the title up there so you can see it?
Yes, I found it.
You found it, yeah.
Hold on.
Where are you today? Do you know your way? Or searching for some mountains lost? Just wanting your wind at any call. Our lives are shaped by what we love. Our lives are shaped by what we love. Our lives are shaped by what we love. A young man walking this now blazed earth trail, taught from childhood that he must never fail. His steadfast values and honor.
All right, I'm so sorry that I always need to interrupt. John, congratulations to that. It's on my want list for a long time. So that
was it expensive, John?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, it was quite expensive, yeah. But it's one of those, Eve. It's what we were talking about earlier on that I suppose with records, it's a funny thing because that's a record that I've known about for a long time and I've wanted for a long time. So I've seen what it sells for. And when I found it in a record shop, which I'd never seen a physical copy before, and the price was less than what I've seen it sell for,
okay.
I can justify it in my own mind there that, the worst case scenario is that I sell it and at least get my money back or a bit more.
Yeah.
But, I was never ever going to do that, of course, so I'm out of pocket, but yeah.
Mm.
Thank you so much that you're loving the stream so much. So many great comments about it. Thank you so much. Yeah, John, that was great. I think we follow the same Swedish record store. They have some fantastic records.
Have you ever been there, Nadine?
No, but I need to. But I need to find an excuse because it's always like, you're going record shopping. No, I'm around the corner. There's just 5 minutes and ends up that I'm spending hours in those shops.
I went there about 10 years ago. And I could have spent, we were only there for a few days, myself and my wife, and I could have spent all the time just in that one shop.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And hello, Angelo. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for joining. And also thanks everybody for joining. That's so great. And also thanks once again for all the positive messages we're getting. We love it too. So it's my turn, right?
Yeah.
All right. Also a quite unfamiliar kind of Motown singer is the great Gloria Jones with Share My Love, which is her second solo album on Motown, which I got by accident, and I love this accident, a white label Motown promo. I've never seen a white label Motown promo.
Yeah.
I've never seen that. No.
Never seen that.
Yeah.
Seen.
So that was quite a coincidence. So I was very happy about this.
Is that a promo?
Yeah, that's a promo.
Okay.
And it says, you can, I don't know if you can see it in the corner, it says DJ promo not for sale.
Okay.
So what year was that album?
1973.
Right, okay.
Oh, let me see. 1973, yeah.
Mm.
And Gloria Jones was, she did Tainted Love.
Mm.
And which was later a hit with Soft Cell in the beginning of the 80s.
Mm.
And then she was hired at Motown to do some songwriting. Then she got the chance to do the solo album. And she didn't really was having the success she wished for. So she got to the United Kingdom, where she met Mark Bellon, who was the lead singer guitarist of T-Rex, with whom she got into a relationship. And in 1977, when they had dinner and she drove back to their home, they had a car accident where he died. And that was pretty much the end of T-Rex. And she was asked to, she immediately got back to the United States, and she was asked from the United Kingdom to go back because she had wine at the dinner. So they were kind of discussing if she was driving under the influence and all of it. But that doesn't change the fact that she was an absolutely great and talented songwriter. She co-wrote or wrote each and every track on this album. She absolutely talented, Gloria Jones.
Mm.
Mm.
So, and I would say we listen to Oh Baby, because the other ones have really long intros. I always pick the tracks with the long intros, so I hope Oh Baby is not having way too long intro. Yeah, I know you have great taste. I know you have great taste. All right, let's listen to Oh Baby.
Oh, baby, my sweet baby, I'm yours, completely out. Oh, darling, my sweet baby, I'm yours, completely out. If you want it, you got it. If you need it, I'm yours. If you get it, don't you lose it, 'cause I never had this feeling before. Oh, my baby. Oh, darling, my sweet darling, I'm yours, completely yours. Oh, baby, my sweet baby, I'm yours, completely yours. Love surely agrees with me. It's as long as a recipe.
All right. So go and check that album out.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know that record. So the first, I've always liked T-Rex. I suppose growing up as a kid, you know, I used to hear a lot of T-Rex on the radio, and I suppose the first time I became aware of Gloria Jones was some of the old TV clips of her and Mark Bolan singing together. And of course, then you realise that that's who sang "Tainted Love," which, you know, the whole Northern Soul scene. That is probably the biggest tune, but probably the most famous tune. I'm not saying you know, it's the biggest tune in the clubs, whatever. But from the songs, old soul songs, which are associated with that Northern soul scene, that's probably the most famous, and it's brilliant. So it's a song that I never ever get tired of hearing. The original version of Tainted Love is just perfect, you know. But I've never heard that album of that Gloria Jones album there.
Yeah, it's not super expensive. It's really not super expensive, and it's from the beginning to the end. It's an absolutely great record. It's very consistent. In my opinion, it's not just 1 week track on this album, and you really get it very, very cheap.
Good. Cool.
All right, Eve, I think it's your turn.
Yes, my turn.
All right.
You know me, guys. I had to showcase an album from the 90s, right? I'm a 90s girl. So I'm gonna showcase a band. It's actually a duo that I love them. I love them. Unfortunately, they only released 2 albums, and they were from Philadelphia. 2 very talented ladies. They were signed on Motown in 1993 or 94. They have worked with, you know, big names in the, you know, hip hop R&B genre, like Queen Latifah, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and the Fresh Prince. They sang backgrounds for their songs "Summertime" and "Ring My Bell." They have worked with the hip hop band Naughty by Nature, and they released, like I said, 2 albums, 2 beautiful R&B albums, and I'm talking about the band Jeanne. I don't know if we're familiar with them, guys, but this is their debut called "Pronounce Jeanne," and yeah, they were fantastic ladies. And Jeanne, it's like a wordplay, a mix of both of their first name. One is named Renee, and the other one its name is Jean. So yeah, in French it's like pronounced Jeanne. So that's why that's where their name come from.
So what year is that, Eve? What year is it?
This is 94.
Right.
Was released in 94, and this is a reissue that came out a few years ago, and I was super happy when I saw that, because I only had their stuff on vinyl, and this was released, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, and it's gatefold, pretty nice stuff. The vocals were beautiful, classy women, beautiful women. I mean, hey, love them. I used to listen to them when I was a teenager. I love them. So this is their debut. Then they released another album in 1996, or which one? This one here is called Saturday Night. Mm-hmm. So this is their second album, and it was released in 97. This one. 97, very underrated. I mean, they had hits, but you know, they were still very underrated, but very, very talented ladies.
Fantastic.
So yeah, wow. So, I don't know if you were familiar with them, guys.
Not at all. I see Lawrence has just put a comment on there saying that, you know, he knew back in the 90s, but not at all. And it's interesting that, again, you know, we talk about Motown. We started off talking about Brenda Holloway, 1964. Now we're into the mid-90s, 30 years later. Yeah, brilliant. Love it. In 5 or 6 records, we've gone from 64 to 94. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, they had huge hits in the 90s. Hey, Mr. DJ was huge. Groove Thing was huge in the US and in Canada. I mean, yeah, beautiful. This one is a beautiful album. Not a backtrack on this one. I mean, we could play one of my favorites, which is Sending My Love. I like that.
The cover art from the first look at this, they were holding guns, but it's the microphone. I mean, look at this hold it, still hold it. I make you big again. I mean, look at that cover art. It's just
Brilliant.
it's absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
So, and do you know how much I need to pay for an original copy of this? 10 million?
This one you can find pretty easily because, like I said, it was reissued like a few years ago, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. So you can find it for, not, I mean, regular prices nowadays, maybe, I don't know, $30 or $40 maybe.
I tried to find the En Vogue original one you showed, I think, on the last stream. Everybody I talked to laughed at me. Trying to find an orange. Yes, it's in Germany. It's so difficult because everybody was into CDs. Everybody was into CDs. So they hardly bought that on vinyl. It's not easy to find.
Maybe online. You have to check online.
Yeah, not Discogs.
Not Discogs. Yeah.
Right. Sending my love, Eve, for you.
Yes.
Sending my love.
If I could mail my heart right to you, I would. I'd pack it up, seal it tight, and I'd send it overnight. Every time I hear your voice and I look into your eyes, sends a burning sweet sensation, oh, sadly. Look in your eyes, astound me. I am sending my love to you, praying that you are home, sealing it with a kiss, sending my love, sending my love to you, praying that you are home, sealing it with a kiss, sending my love. With my heart in your hands, I'm as helpless as a baby.
And now I need to buy this, Eve.
The album is wonderful. Not a bad track on this one. Smooth, beautiful 90s R&B music. I mean, hey, the other one is good as well, but their debut was fantastic. Yeah.
What happened to them?
They disbanded like a year after they released the second album because they both wanted to try to have solo careers. And one of them actually was married with a producer, and they did, I think, 2 or 3 more like jazz albums that they had quite a success. And the other one, I'm not sure what happened to her. She tried to have a solo career, but I don't know what happened there. But yeah, both very talented singers, songwriters. I mean, yeah, great artists.
Wow.
Yeah. And unfortunately, only 2 albums, unfortunately, but hey.
But just having 2 albums and they're all top quality instead of having 10 albums with just 1 or 2 tracks.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are we through? Are we already through?
I've got one more to show.
John, I mean, sorry, John. I thought something's not.
Tell you what, Nadine, I sit here for 2 hours, right?
1 hour, 20 minutes.
All right, sorry, you're right.
I'll make you big, John. Bring it on. After your beer.
Right. Okay. So we haven't shown any psychedelic soul yet. So I figured that we should at least show a little bit of Norman Whitfield Productions. So the Undisputed Truth from 1971 or 72. So obviously Norman Whitfield with the Temptations, created that whole psychedelic soul sound of the late 60s, which really brought Motown into the 1970s. He moved away from that classic Motown sound, sort of longer, more drawn out tunes. We know all those great songs, of course. And with The Undisputed Truth, many of those songs that he did with the Temptations, he reworked. And I think this is their second record, and I think this is their best. It's a brilliant record. And it's interesting because on the back of the sleeve, it sort of gives you a description of what the music sounds like. And I think that more bands should do this. So on the back, it says, I see the fastest rising group in the recording industry. I see a perfect cross between Sly and the Family Stone and the Fifth Dimension. So that pretty much describes the sound perfectly. It's a mix between Sly and the Fifth Dimension. More bands should do that. They should say, well, this is our album, and it sounds a little bit like this and a little bit like that. You know where you're standing, wouldn't you? But this is great. I mean, it finishes with a 9-minute version of What's Going On, obviously the Marvin Gaye song. But Norman Whitfield breaks it down, so every now and again it'll drop out to just the bass line, and then some percussion will come in over the top. Then you'll get a snippet of vocals, and it'll drop out again. And it's beautiful. So if you like your psychedelic soul, those long drawn out funk jams almost, then this is perfect. The opening track is brilliant. You make your own heaven and hell right here on earth, which I think the Temptations also did. Superstar, remember how you got where you are is another Temptations tune. So you'll be familiar with many of the songs, but done slightly differently in that psychedelic style.
I think The Undisputed Truth was sort of tryout group for Norman Whitfield to see what he could use.
What he could do, yeah. And when he sort of left Motown, he set up his own label, Whitfield Records, in the mid-70s. He took the band with him. And obviously he continued making records with them. And to be fair, at that point, their sound got a little bit more P-funk. Then it's a little bit closer to that George Clinton sound. But the early 70s records are closer to the psychedelic soul, that sound that you associate with the Temptations from that period. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's the two back-to-back, Nadine, are that's a good night in, that is.
Oh my God, it is signed, Nadine.
By Otis Williams.
I'm not saying anything.
So, this is also, if you want to get into Motown stuff, this is also Cloud Nine is fantastic with Norman Whitfield. But
I don't know why I bother turning up, Nadine, every time.
But The Undisputed Truth is a great group, so underrated in so many ways. So and I love the cover art. Once again, these 70s cover arts and the fonts they use.
Yeah.
Oh boy, I love this cover art. What song do we? Yeah, wait, I'll make you big again so you can hold it up again and make.
There'll be no glare on
Look
that.
at that.
Look at that.
That's such a cool cover.
Very cool.
And I think they were also doing Papa Was a Rolling Stone before the Temptations did that. Is that correct? I read that somewhere. I don't know if it's true.
Oh, I don't know. Is it on their debut album? I don't think it is it?
I don't know. I think that he tried that and
I'll have to look at that. I have to pull my records out. But this is their best record of I say it's their second record. I say their later records get a little bit more closer to P-Funk, but not as good. It's like a diluted P-Funk. So, but this, I mean, and again, look at those outfits there.
Hold on. I'll make it more.
So, very cool.
Oh my God.
Very cool.
So next time, Nadine and Eve, that's how we're going to come dressed to the stream.
Yeah, I try my best. I try my best, John.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so do you want a song?
Yes, sure.
Okay, so try the opener. You make your own heaven and hell right here on earth.
All right, John. So that's your song.
into this world, oh baby, your mind is clear as the air.
Time passes.
You learn to walk and talk.
Time passes.
You learn right from wrong.
Time passes.
You leave home seeking a life of your own. Hey, I'm telling you the natural facts, for what it's worth. You make your own heaven and hell right here on earth.
Listen to me. That's time passes. Hey, and your values change.
All right. I never get tired of them. I love Smiling Faces.
Yeah, that was their big tune,
oh
wasn't it?
my God, that
hit.
was just fantastic.
But just look at the players on here. So you've got Earl Van Dyke on piano, James Jamerson on bass, Dennis Coffey on guitar. It's it's that period of Motown session musicians. Brilliant.
Well, and it's also a very available, widely available record.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
so this
absolutely.
Well, thanks for pointing that out, John. I need to have that. I've seen it so many times. I need to have that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. If you see it, pick it up. And I say, if you're going to check anything out today, check out the 9-minute version of What's Going On. That's incredible.
I need to hear that. After the stream, I will hear that. I love this. Sometimes Inner City Blues has been covered many times by Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear that. All right, guys. So do you have some topics for our next SoulStream coming up? So that was some fantastic choices. So what we do have here, problem with the upper class. Mastering is not good. Well, I don't know what kind of version. Also, this one is widely available. It was €5, not expensive. I have the US version from 1969, and to me it sounds good. So what I also can recommend is that in the later years, especially David Ruffin did some great 70s album like So Soon We Change, Walk Away from Love. He did some great stuff. The Four Tops, for example, Keeper of the Castle. So once they left Motown, they did some great. So John, this is for you. Some great recordings as well.
Sorry, Nadine, that album is that on ABC? Keeper of the Castle. Is that after they left Motown?
Yeah, this is on ABC. ABC Dunham.
I like the. Is it the one before or the one after that? Meeting of Minds. That's my favorite for that. But that's a brilliant record. And again, those records are cheap. I mean, they're not signed when you buy them cheap, Nadine, but they are. You can buy them cheap.
Okay.
That's brilliant. Is that song as well? God, look at that. So did you actually have to queue to get that, Nadine?
I met he's the only one who is he's the only surviving member of the group, and he did a concert here in Germany, and I had the privilege to sneak in backstage, and by coincidence I found his manager because I was holding the records, and he looked at me very, "Do you want that signed?" I said, "Give it to me." And I said, "Give it to me." I said, "Okay." And then he brought me back everything signed. So 70s Four Tops are phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Eve, what are you up to? Do you buy some? Are you planning to buy some new records?
Yeah. I did buy some because I went to a show last week outside of Montreal, outside of the province. I went to Ontario to see a show with a friend, and we went to a record store. I bought a few records. And I mean, hey, I always buy records. Less than before, but I still always buy records. Come on. Not as much as you, Nadine, but I still buy records.
No, I'm really trying to stop it because it got a little out of hand because I found this disco record and it wasn't so cheap. And now I said, Nadine, you need to stop now. And I'm really trying.
But now that I see that I've heard that there's a reissue of Anthony Hamilton album on gold vinyl, I'm gonna get that for sure.
Yeah, but be careful with gold vinyl and sound.
Thank you for letting me know about this.
Yeah, you see.
Yeah, because it was on my list, on my wish list, but now that it's on gold vinyl, I'm gonna get that for sure. And there's another album that I really wanted to get. It got reissued on vinyl. I think last week. It is an album by the R&B soul artist Bilal.
Oh, right, okay.
Very, very nice. And I've seen that it got reissued. Was released last week. So I'm definitely going to get that because I really like his music. Yeah, 90s R&B.
Perfect. Yeah. I love your taste, Eve. I just love your taste. So it really expands my musical taste. I always, when we do this live stream, I always have a list. I'm writing down things where like, oh, this I need to buy, or this I need to get. So the two of you have great taste. And John, some recent buys you might want to share with us, or are you planning something to buy?
I've got another record, which it's nothing fancy. It's nothing expensive. It's actually a really, really cheap Motown record that you'll get for less than £5. But I think, well, it's certainly one of my favourite Motown records, absolutely. And it's from 1974, and it's Stevie Wonder presents Cyrita.
Mm-hmm.
So Stevie Wonder, of course, in the early 70s, had a perfect run of records. So most people would say, starting off with Music Is My Mind, Talking Book, Inner Visions, Fulfillment's first finale, and then Songs in a Clear Life. Well, in between Fulfillment's first finale and Songs in a Clear Life, he made this record with Sarita, who was obviously his ex-wife at the time. All of the songs are either written by or co-written by Stevie. It's produced by Stevie, and it just fits perfectly into that run of records. It's a brilliant, brilliant record. Her voice is beautiful, and she was a great songwriter herself. Of course, she co-wrote Signed, Sealed, Delivered, I'm Yours with Stevie back in the 60s as well, which she did a version of that in I think about 1980 on her album. But this if you don't have this record, you'll get this for less than £5, and it is brilliant. It is just joyous. We were talking about obviously doing this video or this stream for a week or two, and I played this the other day, and you cannot help but smile when you listen to this record. Her voice is beautiful. Obviously, she passed away a few years ago, but when Stevie Wonder tours now, their daughter sings with him, and she looks just like Sarita. She looks just like a mum. It really leaves a lump in the throat whenever you see them sing together. But yeah, absolutely fantastic. If you don't have this record, for less than a £5 or less, whatever the price is, it's absolutely worth it. One of my favourite records on Motown, and it fits perfectly in with that run of Stevie Wonder albums. And I don't think that it doesn't matter who you're talking about, whether it's the Beatles or David Bowie or Prince. I don't think anybody has matched that run of records, those 5 albums in a row. They're absolutely perfect. So there you go.
Awesome. I need to have that. And I have some later albums from her. Yeah. But I don't have the first one. So
so this is a second record. The first record actually came out on Mo West, which we spoke about with the Odyssey record. So, and that's those first 2 records. Again, they're both cheap. You'll get them for no money at all. Yeah, Southern Soul, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
So, and that's now it's Muscle Shoals. That's, and I wish you would have done the album. All I can say is go on that website and check these tracks out. They did some fantastic stuff. So maybe yes, we consider that for next time. Stax, yes, of course. Al Green did some great stuff on High Must Show. Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds like a great idea. All right, I feel a little drunk, honestly. I drank some gin tonic. Okay, guys, do you have some questions up here on the panel for someone here up here, for the experts, for John, for Eve?
Oh, blimey.
Yeah, I agree with you are, John, and Eve as well. She's now known as the 90s R&B queen. I have people contacting me and they say, I love your stream, but I'm only watching it because of Eve. But I
only watch it because of Eve as well. Yeah, it's true.
But I also have people say, John is so great and this whole thing is so great. I'm getting constantly messages. Oh, and now it's 3 weeks. When is now the next day for the SoulStream? So you guys are rocking it. So anything about the in-house Motown disco band? Is that the in-house? Is that Motown sounds?
Yes, I've got that as well. That's a nice record.
I bought it because of the cover art. Hold on, I'll make myself think. I bought this because of the cover art. I mean, who wouldn't love to be in that disco?
I actually bought that, and I thought it was a compilation when I first bought it. I didn't realize it was, it was only when I got it home I realized it was a studio band. Yeah,
I thought that's too. That this is some kind of compilation disco thing, but yeah, I love that. I love that. So is that was that the answer to the question? I hope it was. I'm not sure. Okay, that's a very important question to you, John. How many beer did you drink today?
Today? Oh, yeah. Well, quite a few today, but not normally that many. But as I say, doing the stream with you guys means that my family are in another room, so I've got like the whole room to myself here, so I can do what I like, which normally means showing records and drinking beer.
Okay, Bibi. Gloria Jones made in 1973 great, her second album on Motown, Share My Love. And now you'll be surprised. I have it right up here in my hands because I was prepared for that question. So we discussed it early on, Bibi. I know you came in later. We discussed this. Gloria, fantastic album. I can only recommend it. It's not expensive and it's a fantastic album. So you were not sure about the disco album from Motown, so maybe that was it. All right. Yes, we are always willing to please. All right, some other questions. Yes, Bonnie Pointer made some great disco songs on it. So I have that record up here, and it's also signed, but I'm not quite sure.
Do you have any records that aren't signed over there?
Sorry?
Do you have any records that aren't signed behind you there?
Yes, I have.
If you could share some of those, that'd be great.
I have many records that are not signed, but hold on, is it? Hold on, I'll make myself big.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice cover.
That's on Motown. I totally forgot about that. There's a version. I think Heaven must have sent to you. Heaven must have sent to you, and I was always used to listen to that on the disco version, and this now there's an album version and a disco version, and the album version is, in my opinion, not as good as the disco version. So Bonnie Pointer, absolutely. All right, where was it? I put it up here. So, all right, did we forget something? How was Quincy Jones allowed to bring a lawsuit against Michael Jackson during time of trial? All right, Stephen, you are asking questions. Does anybody of the two of you know that? No, I have no idea. Stephen, I'm sorry, we have no idea. Is that the trial which was a couple of years ago or last year, where he was also saying that Michael Jackson kind of stole, I think, Billie Jean from Donna Summer's song, something like that. I don't know. I pay red vinyl must have sent to you, but I sold it to someone in Brussels. Yeah, well. All right. So if none of you is having any questions, like once again, I'm melting away, and I think if you the two of you are okay with it, we can do a kind of Southern Soul a special about Stax and high records, and if you're okay with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
All right. So guys, I'm like what I said, I'm melting away. If you were fantastic once again.
Thank
John,
you. So do you.
unbelievable. Unbelievable. So let me put the link for Eve's. I put once again the link for Eve's channel once again in the comments. Subscribe to her. I also hold on, John, your link. It's a 6-inch pianist. Don't get confused with anything else. I don't want to hear it. John, may I can ask you how you decided to choose that channel name?
Oh, we can't hear you, John.
No, he's unmuted.
Oh, there you go, on mute.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to answer that question, Nadine.
So that's the link to John's channel. You had the link to Eve's new channel, but Eve, that's not your main channel, right?
No. That's the channel for Let's Talk Records show with
Okay,
and the Big Yellow Rebel.
Okay, so hold on.
I still have my main channel.
I love the Big Yellow Rebel. She has also great
taste, very knowledgeable as well.
Yeah, and she's such a character. I love her. Hold on. So now I've got the link to Eve's channel up here as well. Go and subscribe. So, all right, everybody. So we're wrapping it up. We're almost here up for almost 2 hours, and we will be doing a special next month. We will be back. Thanks, Eve. Thanks, John. I can thank you enough for doing this with me. It's now episode number 8. It's awesome. I enjoyed very much. You two are great. And I would say till next time.
Yeah.
Well.
All right. Bye, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.